everyone, it's Jacqueline. I'm actually at work right now, waiting on a client to get here. I got here a little earlier than I expected. But anyway, so I wanted to discuss a topic that I had, and this topic is kind of like the pros and cons of transitioning and not transitioning when you're dealing with being trans. That's kind of like a pretty intense subject. So everything in life has its ups and downs. So if you suffer gender dysphoria, and that's what I'm addressing here, because I won't really address not suffering from gender dysphoria. It's I do think that if you identify as trans, you can identify as non-binary and whatever, but if you identify as trans, you you have to suffer gender dysphoria or body dysphoria, whatever people call it. So for me, when I was younger, I knew. Actually, when I was about 12, I started growing leg hair. Actually, probably earlier than that. I mean, I knew at about like 9. And I was very feminine naturally, so I would talk like a girl, and I got into crap because I talked like a girl, and my dad would, shit me out about it. But as I got older and testosterone started to kick in, and I started puberty, probably about like 9, 10. And when that started happening, that's when I started to notice that something was not right. And leg hair, I did not like it. I wanted to shave my legs immediately. I just didn't. Now I'm looking at my legs. Shit, I gotta shave them. Anyway, so I didn't want to. I wanted to shave my legs. I didn't like the leg hair, and so I think of transitioning kind of like a puzzle. You are deleting and adding and pieces to fit whatever you want your overall puzzle to be, whatever makes you cures your gender dysphoria. And everyone's is different. Like if I knew that people were more accepting of, if heterosexual men found my leg hair attractive, I would probably think about it differently, and that's just society standards. That's just kind of like fashion and style. But when it comes to other side effects of testosterone, losing your hair on your head, and stuff like that, it was like that was not going to happen. Facial hair, I never really liked it. I never liked shaving it. It bothered me. It was so I got rid of it. And so it's one of these things when once you delete so many things, it's quite clear what path you're going down once you start deleting all of them. It's just so mine was obviously more of a feminine path. And so there's pros and cons. So the pros of not transitioning and suffering gender dysphoria, employment's going to be easier. You're going to get more success in your career because, as a feminine gay man, I got jobs anywhere I wanted. It was, and fast. I could just walk in. They wouldn't even look at a portfolio or anything. They were just like, we're going to give this person a job. And so I would have jobs immediately. Conservative white women liked me because they felt like, I was fashionable, but when I started looking more feminine as I started to get older, probably around the age of 16, 17, I was wearing a lot more makeup and was coloring my hair to be more feminine. I got pushback from all the people that had once accepted me for being a feminine gay man, and then I was becoming too feminine. It was like a line I was crossing, and people didn't like it. And they didn't like that I would wear eyeliner, and they would always make a point to say something. And so when I moved to California, I was wearing a lot of makeup, and I was having this thing pulling me out there. I hated the city where I live now, but I lived then, and I hated it, and I felt like I just stood out like a sore thumb, and I just couldn't stand these people. And when I got to Los Angeles and I saw the trans women there, the majority of them were all sex workers. They were all trying to get a sugar daddy just to pay their bills, and which is fine. Anybody can do whatever makes them happy. But for me, I really didn't like it. And then the men that had all this money that were there, they didn't understand why I wasn't into it. I wasn't into using them for their money. It bothered me. I was always looking for more of an authentic connection with someone and just live your life, and it seemed being trans, that's not what people want, and it's still that way today. I do believe when I date and stuff like that, it's just sex. I can't tell you how many people on dating apps just write me instantly, like text me, you're hot, blah blah blah, you know. And then they and I guess they do that with other women, but for the majority of the part, like they're specifically just wanting to sleep with me because I'm trans, because they think it's hot and it's like a fantasy. And that's just I've been a fantasy for like 15 years, and it gets really boring. So the ups of not transitioning: you can get a job, you can be more accepting in, say, like the fashion world and stuff like that, and more conservative people are more accepting of it. They'll go get their gay hairstylists to do their hair, but then they'll go to church and condemn them on Sundays, where their church does conversion therapy. But it's one of those things where it's like it's more accepting to be gay. But when I transitioned, I got a huge pushback. So the negatives is that I had to suffer from dysphoria that was awful, hair loss on my head. I was shedding a lot of hair. I started getting a receding hairline, which actually grew back after I started to transition. I guess I was at the right age where it was not, too dramatic. And so, and body hair started to slow down, but I had to get a lot of laser. So the ups and downs is that I deleted my dysphoria. The downs is you're going to be less accepted by society. That's just kind of the way it is. And dating is rough. It's just going to be rough. Women are instinctively competitive against trans women. It's just their thing. They don't even know they're doing it. It's subconscious. And straight men are into it. I would say majority of heterosexual men would totally sleep with trans women, but that's not the problem. The problem is that they can't handle themselves. We've gone over this in other videos. And so this is like one of those subjects where finding acceptance in yourself is actually a deterrent, because people, men like to play women, and they specifically love to play trans women because they can get what they want, and they'll be like, I'm not actually going to date you. Like, that's crazy talk. So, and actually on my dating profile, I said, when I hear people tell me, because that's all I've ever heard for all these years, is I just want to like have fun and not take anything serious. When I hear men say that, all I hear is that they think American cheese is the best cheese. That's all I hear them say. Like, that to me, it sounds like I couldn't imagine just sleeping with people just for sex. Like, it sounds awful. And it just sounds not as much fun. It's like it's not fun. And then but in this world, we've now gotten to the point where people have like 10 different partners, and they're married to one person and sleeping with 10 other people, and if you say anything, then you're sex shaming them. So it's a different world these days. But for me, I always look for that authentic connection, for real passion, real love. And we'll just say that I've only ever had it once, and it was my ex-girlfriend, and that was more love at first sight. I was mad about that girl for whatever stupid reason, and she just wasn't interested in me. She just didn't have the same feeling. And if she did, she was either terrified of it and just disappeared. But I think she was more into, being looked after, I guess. I don't know. It was weird. She's also got a lot of mental health issues. But still, I've only ever had it that one time. Other than that, I've just been waiting. And most of the time, I can sniff out someone trying to, bullshit me in a heartbeat, because I've transitioned for so long now. I just don't put up with their bullshit. So the ups of transitioning is you can get rid of your dysphoria for the most part. Some people are not. There's only so much surgery you can get done before it's like, it's too much, and it just continues. But then the worst part is if you get all these surgeries and you still are not accepted by people, and you're still getting gender dysphoria, and that's going to be really rough. So for me, I've never had any work done at all on my body. And but I've noticed there's a person on Instagram yesterday or the day before, they made a post, and they were identifying as trans women. They have had an orchiectomy, they've had their breast implants done, they've had multiple things done, and they're actually, they didn't want to call it detransitioning, but they're getting their breast implants removed, they're going back to he, so it is kind of a detransition. They're detransitioning, but they're going to also be like slightly non-binary, so I guess they will be a feminine man. But they never really felt right actually being binary trans. So I think we've gotten to the point now, and as it goes on, I do think that a lot of people identify as non-binary because it is more widely accepted. And if you don't pass, or if you don't get that relief, it's a different kind of relief. You can maybe get rid of your own dysphoria, but if you don't get relief as in from society and dating people. So it's a lot of people date people within the trans community. Anyway, so, and I really kind of like broke this down, and I actually realized that location is a big deal. Where I live, trans people are like all non-binary, pretty much all of them. And most of them that I know that are here that are binary trans women, they're either actually no, some of them that I know, they actually have good jobs and they've been accepted, but they've had that position before they transitioned, so they were ingrained in, and then they were accepted, and but things have changed in that way. But a lot of binary trans women are still in sex work, and a lot of non-binary people, most of them have regular jobs. They kind of live their thing because it is more widely accepted. So yeah, there's ups and downs, but for me, I've started to realize recently that I don't belong where I live. I've known it this whole time, but I really don't belong where I live. So I'm starting to think within the next 5 years, I'm going to start to actually transition out of the city I'm in. I love my job. I love where I am. I have a phenomenal clientele of actually really cool people. But for me, I was actually watching the movie Call Me By Your Name, and with Timothy Chalamet, who I just think is so hot for whatever reason. I mean, what is with me and the cougar thing? I mean, really. But Timothy Chalamet is just cool. Like, he's just got this cool style to him that's pretty hot. I want to know what's behind that cool style, though, because he's just a cutie. Anyway, and a phenomenal actor. And so I was watching Call Me By Your Name, and it was set in northern Italy, and it was just such a beautiful place where you can go into nature without being swarmed by mosquitoes. You can get into a lake without coming out with leeches on you and shit, or snakes, because that's what we deal with here where I live. And like, you'll find like toothless hillbillies that have 2 brain cells, on the side of the shoreline. So for me, I've realized that I have created a little world within a world where I live because it's financially secure. So the ups of living where I live now is I have a great clientele, I have a good house I live in, I'm safe, but I'm not really living, if that makes sense. So I need to get out more and start to live my life. And so my goal now is to actually start to really travel. I think in the next 5 years, I'm going to start to do like a lot of saving, a lot of traveling. I'm going to look at Alaska. I'm going to look at places with large mountains and lakes and hiking and beauty. And I'm trying to get away, and I will manage a salon or become a personal trainer. I think personal trainer is what I'm going to do full-time, and manage a salon part-time, wherever I go to, because I won't rebuild the clientele. I've done hair 20 years. So the ups of living in the city I live in, there's always ups and downs to everything in life. The ups are financially stable. The downs, I'm surrounded by like anti-vaxxers and conservatives and these these people eating horse paste to treat their COVID, and so I'm surrounded by those people. And you can't get away from all people. There's idiots everywhere, but there's more of them here. And I need more nature. If I'm going to put up with morons, I'm going to need some nature. And I look at like Alaska or Portland, but I don't want to be on the West Coast. And I just need nature, mountains, and not this insane heat and awfulness. So I looked at like the most progressive cities in Alaska, and I was pretty curious about some of them. But I'm more for the nature, and if I'm going to create a little world within a world, I want to at least have some mountains, some oceans, and some lakes. That's all I'm saying. So anyway, that was my little topic. It's kind of random all over the place, but transitioning is not your sole identity, and being comfortable within your transition and your world, financially stable, isn't really living. Like, it's getting through what should have been there anyway, but living is experiencing things, having the things that make you happy. And where I live, there's no one I really like here. Like, I don't really have friends here. I have lots of clients that I'm friends with, but I'm not like close friends. Everyone here drinks. So I've come to the point where I really realized that I've got to start changing my life up. I've been financially stable for about 10 years now, and taking a chance is scary, but that's kind of what life's about. Anyway, I hope everyone's well. I just wanted to make a quick video. I'm actually doing a beer Olympics today with one of my clients I have a crush on. They invited me out. I do all their hair in this house, and they invited me out to do this beer Olympics, but I don't drink, so they want me to be like a referee or something. I was like, anyway, so I've got to go to that event later today. I'm working this morning, and then I will be going to that later. If it rains, I guess we're going to have to do something else. Anyway, I hope everyone's well, and I hope everyone's lives are doing fantastic, and they're being safe, and I will talk to y'all later. Bye.